This is the Treu Real Estate 911 podcast with Lisa Treu. Lisa will share up-to-date real estate information with you that you need to know.
Welcome to Treu Real Estate 911. It's Brian Mudd along with your local real estate pro, Lisa Treu, and we're going to give you information that you need to know. That is perhaps the most powerful information that you could know to set yourself up for your financial future. And also coincides with, eventually, my first rule of retirement, which is a mortgage is not a retirement plan. We're talking about building equity, how to get there quicker, how to get there smarter, what it means to you, why it's important to own as well. And Lisa and the Treus, they have a brand new tool as well to help you every step of the way, as we'll be discussing that. And of course, well, during the holidays, that does not mean that you just take real estate off if you need to make decisions. In fact, there are real important timelines in here that can be to your advantage if you use them strategically. Talk about that as well. Before we get started, if you're not already there, go to TreuRealEstate911.com. That's TreuRealEstate911.com. The best local resource you're going to find for real estate information. And also, we're going to find this home equity tool that we'll be talking about today as well. And if you have questions, if you are looking for information, the Treus are ready to help you 7 days a week. They're here to help you during the holiday season as well. 561-972-8326. 561-972-8326. Lisa, we see it year in and year out. Some of the most obvious mistakes that are made during the holidays and during changes in season. And when we talk about changes in season, as we know, that has multiple meanings right here in South Florida.
It does. I mean, we have right now the beauty of beautiful weather, right? And even better this year is last year's weather up north was so brutal, number one. Number two, it's already started.
Oh, yeah.
They're having snow.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy? So,
and the next day, I saw the Canadian license plates and all the cars being unloaded. So that's all it took was that snow and ice storm recently, and boom, they're down.
They are coming. They're coming early. They are coming to buy early this year. They understand what is coming. And so we are, I find, busier right now than we are typically. And the biggest mistake home sellers can make is thinking, they'll just wait until January. It is, in any year, the biggest mistake you can make. And yet, especially this year, you have to be on the market if you want to be selling in the season. The season has already started. You know, we start talking about that the next year starts about October 1st. Mm-hmm. And certainly we're kind of in that kind of time frame already. Right? It's November. We're almost in December. Hard to believe. And so we have people that are going to be coming down this week and obviously throughout December to buy homes. And if your home is not on the market, by the time you get ready to get your home on the market, they're already done.
And to your point as well, often in January, because that's kind of like the conventional wisdom. That's what most people do that are thinking about making real estate decisions in the near future. Well, then you also are competing with more inventory as well, while you don't have the opportunity for these people that are looking to buy right now.
Inventory always increases in January. It's just what happens. People wait until after the holidays are over, and then they get back to normal life and they put their home for sale. The other thing that happens is our snowbirds. They think they want to be here and be available during the showings, and which is another mistake. And yet they wait till they come down here in January to once again put their homes on the market. So it just is a big, big, big mistake, whether you're looking to put a single family year-round product on the market or a seasonal product. If you're thinking of selling in 2019, you should have your home on the market.
All right, that's really good information. Now, you have shared with us a little bit of information about this new home equity tool, and you, 2-3 years ago, brought me one of the more surprising pieces of financial and economic information I've seen. There are not many statistics when it comes to economics that surprise me, just completely out of left field. This was one of them, and it pertains to the amount of net worth that is comprised of home equity, meaning that of a person's net worth, how much of it is specific to their home and their equity.
It is 83%.
Unreal.
And every time I say that, I think the same way, is that no way that can't be true. But it is. And so if that is true, and we know it is, then how do we help those that we care about build equity and build it faster, and then maybe figure out what to do with it to help that equity grow and do it in a strategic way, not a gambling way, right? This is not take your money to Vegas and,
Right.
and roll the dice. This is having a plan and a strategy that withstands time.
So without getting into an oversimplification of things, just when you're talking about that 83% is a powerful number, and I want to illustrate it. So let's say, for example, you would have $100,000. If you're the average person, you have $100,000 potential to your name. If you do not own your home, you would have $17,000, not $100,000. In that scenario, the average scenario, you'd have the $100,000, $83,000 of which would be the home equity, $17,000 of which would be theoretically investments, cash equivalents. So that's what we're talking about here. That's how powerful this is, and you can see how that is altered as the numbers go higher as well. And my belief has always been my first rule for retirement is that a mortgage is not a retirement plan, and the reason is pretty straightforward. The average person is faced with negative life financial adversity every 8 years. Now, that can mean different things based upon your means, but still, when you're faced with adversity every 8 years, and especially if you're in retirement and you're at a point to where you might not be viable in the workforce anymore, well, all of those considerations are really bad news when the worst thing that can happen is that you lose the roof over your head. If the worst that can happen is at least you own your home, you're starting from a much better place. So part of the home equity building isn't just about the net worth, which can be valuable, certainly, if you're going to utilize those proceeds by selling your home somewhere along the way. But Lisa, to your point as well, it really is something that can help you put more of your money in your pocket rather than a landlord's, but also can help you pay less in interest over the course of time as well.
And having that peace of mind and security, which is what you were talking about, right? That no matter what happens, you own your home and you can either sell that home and take the money to do whatever you need to do with it, or you have a place to live that, that you're okay with. And so one of the things that I think that people don't realize is that if they just planned a little, they could own that home faster.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be extremely painful. It's amazing, with interest, that if you make a little extra payment consistently, how quickly that interest goes down. And let's face it, when we get a loan, at least in the early years, we're only paying interest.
Right.
We're paying pennies of the principal. So if you take every time you have an extra $10 and you just mentally set that aside and start making an extra mortgage payment a year, I mean, that really, if you think about that, that's very possible for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
One extra mortgage payment on a 30-year loan will shave 7 years off of that loan.
I mean, that's huge. That's huge. And obviously, if you can do more than that, I mean, you start thinking about how quickly that comes together.
Yes, and when you create those opportunities and you pay down that mortgage and you have that equity, then you can say, what do I do with it? And a lot of that will depend on your age.
Sure.
Right? It depends upon, the time that you have to build wealth. But if you're younger, you may look at that equity and start to say, okay, do I buy an investment property? A lot of people are calling me about investment properties, but they're still renting. Okay, let's first get you a home. Let's make you the owner of your own home.
Yes.
And when we've done that, then let's create the strategy. And really with us, the conversation starts, what is your exit strategy? Because if you're buying your first home, odds are it's not going to be your last home.
Right.
Now, is this first home going to be something you're going to rent? Or is this something that you're going to sell and take the equity and move it to the next home? And either's okay. And you may say, I'm not sure, but I might want to rent it. Okay, great. You might want to rent it. Well, then we need to make sure you're buying the right property. You're buying a property, first of all, that allows rentals. One that will be appealing to more people and maybe be in more demand from a rental rate.
Such a good point. A lot of people would never think of that going in.
And then, when you're ready to sell, then you can decide, okay, do I rent it? Do I take my equity? And like I said, sometimes it makes sense. And you say, okay, this property is not going to appreciate. I have a lot of people selling properties right now where they've appreciated kind of as much as they're going to. The rent rates are not rising as well as maybe some other areas. And so they're selling those non-performing properties, right? That's really what they are.
Yeah, so it's kind of selling into a weak market rather than taking advantage of where the opportunity might be.
So then they'll take that money and then reinvest it somewhere.
Yeah.
So that that they get a better return on that money. And once again, it's just a clear strategy. And this does not have to be hard. This is really just okay, what are your goals? What are your plans? What are your thoughts? And then let's kind of approach it with a simple plan. I mean, we're not creating these complicated spreadsheets. It's really a simple conversation.
Oh, come on. That's not as much fun.
I know. You were very disappointed by that. And yet most people listening are saying, yay, we can make this simple. And so it really is a strategy. So I would challenge everybody, if you are a homeowner, go to the website and start with your own monthly digest. What you'll get, you'll put in your information about your property and about your loan and all your information. Now, this is private. So you're going to put all this information and then you're going to get a report, and it's going to show you some really interesting things. It'll allow you to kind of play with it and say, well, what if I made an extra $100 a month of a payment? And you'll start to see what that will do to the growth.
That's cool. Yeah. And this is all at TrueRealEstate911.com again.
And this is a free tool. It is unique. It's not a Zestimate, right? This is bigger than a Zestimate, much bigger than a Zestimate. You can even say, okay, I don't think my value's right. Let me tell you why. And then it'll ask me to take a look at it, right? Your property value. It'll also allow you to see, what if you have a property that's not in a homeowners association and you say, well, I wonder what I could rent it for as a Verbo or a HomeAway. And it'll give you ideas if you wanted to do that type of daily rental, weekly, seasonal rental. So it gives you a lot of information. And here's the thing, if you have a loan, it'll say, hey, maybe you should look at refinancing. Maybe now's the time, right? So it really gives you a lot more information and a lot more control. And it's once a month. So kind of visit your equity once a month, see how things are going.
I like that. Visit your equity. Say hi to it.
Yeah, kind of like visit your money, right? And don't ignore it. Don't just say, well, it doesn't matter. There's nothing I can do about it. Yes, the equity you actually control. We can't always control the value. The value is what it is. But the equity as homeowners, we do get to control because we can do things to improve that equity. There's also a buyer component to this program. It's a little more challenging because you have to email me and I have to actually send you it. But this will allow you to compare different areas. If you're not sure, should I buy in this zip code or that zip code, it'll give you a lot of really good data as a buyer to kind of figure out where you belong from what kind of houses and what the prices are and that type of information as well.
Yeah, when you take a look at that, that's the number one issue I see for people that are newer to the area in particular is, Palm Beach County real estate has a connotation to many people that are new here. And as we know, oh my gosh, what the heck does that mean based upon where you are? It could not be more vastly different based upon the part of the county you're looking in, the property type and everything else. And, especially when you're talking about season, what properties in particular, like right now, are the ones that are doing well?
We're having a lot of great success with, believe it or not, we're seeing a lot of more affordable homes coming on the market right now. And we are seeing multiple offers. And that is because I think a lot of landlords have, once again, evaluated and said, okay, it's time for me to exit being a landlord, either because they've done it a long time and they're tired of it. They're nearing retirement and it's time to start to liquidate their assets. Or they just want to reinvest in other areas and other communities. And so we're seeing several options right now, many options under $300,000, which has really not been the case. We always see at this time of year our active adult communities doing well. This is kind of their time to shine because
This is 55 and older?
55 and over, those people that want a lifestyle, they want community, they want activities, and that price ranges from typically $100,000 all the way up to $1 million. So depending on how big of a property, do you want a condo or single family homes? There's some very large single family homes in 55 and over communities. So there is something for everyone. The challenging market is still the country clubs. And part of it's just a change of the way buyers purchase. Used to, if you wanted to come to Florida and you wanted kind of an instant group where you connected, you went to a country club where you had social and you had tennis and you had golf. And today, many of the people retiring are coming and moving to the active adult communities, but not specifically a country club because they don't play golf. And they're getting all the social without having to pay that upfront equity. So the challenge is if you own it, there are fewer buyers. If that is the lifestyle you want, the great news is there's some really good deals in there. So you can get a lot more home in a country club than you can the same home outside of the country club. So
all the additional information we're talking about there, if you are uncertain about what's available, then also part of what you're talking about with some of this detailed information to obtain, because you're not necessarily going to inherently know all the ins and outs of what you were just talking about that could end up really impacting someone's buying or even selling decision at this point. So, as we're coming up on year end, for the folks that are going, yeah, you know what, I do want to enjoy the holidays, what have you, what's your guidance for them?
So if you're thinking of selling, call me. Let's talk about the timing and the plan. Generally, what we find, there's 4 or 5, 6 days out of the entire month of December where those days are really special. Maybe you have a party scheduled, a day with loved ones, and we can eliminate showings on those days. And the good news is you can still decorate, by the way.
Yeah, I would imagine that would show well.
Yes. What we attempt to do is get photos before you've decorated, if at all possible. And yet it does create a good feeling when a buyer walks in. I mean, buying a home generally is emotional. And so when that buyer walks in and you've got it all decorated and you have the wonderful candles and all that, it makes them feel good. And so that helps. So all the things you think you can't do or you shouldn't do, or all the challenges, let's call and talk about them, because 90% of them are really not true. And I can help you plan the schedule so you still enjoy your time, but you also might sell for more money.
There you go. And the website, again, it's TreuRealEstate911.com. That's TreuRealEstate911.com. Treu's ready to help you. Reach out to him, 561-972-8326. Whether you have questions or you are looking to make a decision of some sort, 561-972-8326. And we'll see you next time.